All right, good morning, everybody. Oh, forgot to join Discord. There it is. Good morning. All right, so looking at our trade plan here, let's take a look. Looks like we are still in that overlap, the overlapping range from Thursday. Thursday created the value down here, and then every day since then has just been building up that Thursday value. If we can stay above that value, above that 86, we're looking for those single prints to start getting repaired. So around like the 20s, around the 50s, possibly even 7,000 if it wants to retrace like the entire move. But today would be 23 and 48, fill in that lower portion of those single prints. I think it goes to like 60, I believe, for the entire single print zone to be filled in. And then staying below 86, we rotate back down to 17. That's the low of the range here, the overlapping value. And then below 17, we have 91, which is that prior low. And then 51, also that prior low from that lower tail. So we had an attempt to break that upper level, that range high. But so far, it's pulling right back into it. Okay, so looking at NASDAQ here, same thing. We have the overlap that started on Thursday. You created that value on Thursday, and then all of this value just continuing that value. We have the upper value area probably around, I'd say like 950 to 860. If you use the closer value level, it is that 860 level. If you use the kind of upper portion of the POC here, it's around that 940 level. So staying above 860, look for that break into 25,000, possibly 182. That's where those single prints get filled in. And then staying below that, you're rotating that range. And then below 595, you're losing the range back to these prior lows. So 449 and 190. So basically no change in our trade plan from the last like 3 days. Okay, so failing VWAP pretty much right out of the gate here. Keep an eye on VWAP. Staying below that, we are, like I said earlier, just rotating that value range here. Wanatachi, Ordinary, Lumiere, VQ. Let me pin the trade plan for you guys. There you go. A lot of bullish delta coming in here, even though you are going down. Keep an eye on VWAP if it continues to bounce. Morning, Jose, Trevor, Ram, Larry, Leo, Future, Banana, Mag, Julio, AT, Titus, Hunter, Caliber, Adam, Sad, Lulu, Scott, Asparagus-ish, Brent, Bog, I'm on a boat, Flory, Igor, Maverick, Tamer, JC, and Mark. Good morning, guys. Do I have these levels in SPX? No, it would be extremely redundant if I also had levels on like SPY and SPX, because they're all the same exact chart. They just have different numbers. So I only chart out what I'm trading, which is ES and NASDAQ. The levels are still the same, they just have different numbers. So like if I'm using yesterday's value high, it's probably going to be about the same. If I'm using yesterday's high day, it's going to be about the same. They just have different numbers, obviously. But logically, where you are pulling those levels, they are the same. You want Roma, Ollie, Jade? Give me 1 second. I need to pull something up really quick. So another level you could watch this week, we talked about it in Discord about the weekly open. It is an FOMC week. Even though it's a minutes, they're not typically as strong. It's not like an actual meeting. But if you look at the weekly open, we are sitting on that level pretty much to the exact tick. The weekly open magnet is doing its job here. It's kind of a coincidence because it's really just this range that's going on here, and it ends up being like right in the middle of the range. But yeah, just keep an eye on it. Just another level that's making us stick to the range. And not only are we in a short-term range here, if you go to the daily, we're also stuck in this pretty large daily range as well. So you kind of established the high here, and then you went for a low, and then it tried to break this high multiple times. And every single time you tried to break that high, you kind of failed. So now this is turning into like the high of the range. That's kind of the low of the range. And we're right on the low. So the buyers are trying to come in. You can see they're trying to protect this pivot here. They're protecting that same area they had before, around that 6,800. But so far, this has been the weakest bounce. Look at how strong it was every time it bounced out of this level. And then look at this bounce here. So we have a couple of wicks that happened, which should have generated enough buy pressure to kind of push away here. But it isn't, right? So it's the weakest bounce by far. But this is turning into, or not turning into, it's kind of continuing the rollover where it's possibly pushing up into a lower high and then going back down. So very weak bounce so far. Same thing on NASDAQ. You can see the bounce so far has been very weak. Every other bounce was pretty significant. I wouldn't say it's completely dying just yet. It's still on that low of the range. But like I said, weakest bounce so far. So it can start dying very quickly. You really need those buyers to protect that 6,800, which you can see the buyers are coming in. You see a lot of delta today. They're just not holding on those highs. We talked about it yesterday in Discord. And I was talking about how you want to close on these highs. Like you want to close on this upper level to start targeting those single prints, these single prints from Thursday. But every time you close weak. It pulled back on, what was that, like Friday, I believe? Pulled back on the holiday, pulled back yesterday. So every time it looks like it's going to close strong, it pulls back right away. Keep an eye on VWAP here. Still seeing a major lack in liquidity, which is normally, it's fairly common for February. February and September, they both kind of have that problem where they kind of lose liquidity. I think it might also be due to what's going on around the Middle East, because we are seeing a very large gathering of military forces in the Middle East, typically or particularly around Iran. So I think the market is a little bit worried about what's going to happen in Iran over the next few weeks. There's also the decision on the tariffs coming up. Well, quote unquote, the decision. They keep pushing it back. Their decision is no decision. The last like 2 or 3 times. Which when they do that, you can see that as a partial decision because basically what they're doing is they're extending the tariffs if they do not make a ruling on it. Trapping VWAP so far, if it can stay back below 77, a lot of sell pressure above VWAP here. But yeah, we've got a couple of big events coming up pretty soon, which is why the liquidity is probably pretty bad. We have a lot of data on Friday. We have the tariff stuff going on. We have the Iran stuff going on. I would say we have the FOMC minutes, but it's really not that important. The minutes have been basically a non-event recently. So there was a strong push above VWAP here, but it was only strong on price. The value is really bad. So it looks like a trap unless they start building some value very quickly. We need some value up here. By the way, Apex did announce their 90% off sale. They typically only do a 90% off sale like once a month. So that is their 90%, I'm assuming, for February. They have until, I think you have 1 week. The 90% off code brew until next week. If you guys do use the code, just hold on to those receipts. I will get them from you at the end of the month for our raffle. Good morning, music. Good morning, A&B. What'd you say here? So with failure to rotate, what you do is you basically take it step by step. And here's that value we were talking about. So you're breaking away from VWAP here and you're starting to build some value above it. They need to build up more, though. They need to find a node that they're actually protecting. So with failures to rotate, you take it step by step where if you're rotating back down and it bounces off VWAP, you go level by level. So it's going back to the value high. That's the first level. And then possibly the high of day. And then possibly the overnight high, depending on which one is in that area. So value high, high of day, overnight high. Then you have the possible extension where you can measure out the tails. Big bearish block trade there. You can measure out the tails. And you could find an extension target possibly, if there is a tail imbalance. And then you can take it a step further and go into prior value. So it's just level by level by level. Value high, high of day, overnight high, extension, prior value. So that bearish block trade is smacking them back down before they can build up a node there. They were trying to build a node at around 87. Now, once again, looking like a trap. Morning, Agro. Morning, Sam. Starting to lose that overnight trend, that trail from the overnight and yesterday. If we stay below 80, or if we stay below 840. How are the stocks doing today? Bit of a mixed bag, no clear, like red or green. Looks like the banks aren't doing too bad. Okay, now the trap is finally starting to play out. You are actually back below VWAP now. A very quick trap. They dropped that extremely fast. Look at how many block trades we are getting on NASDAQ. Holy shit, look at that. Ridiculous. Like 20 block trades here. There's another one. Another 400 contracts. Somebody is trading the hell out of NASDAQ. What are my block trades set to on NASDAQ? Let's see here. Yeah, it's set to 100, so those are pretty big. Let me test something here. Is it just anchor there? Keep it on the prior low here. So you're kind of hitting your prior low target on ES, but you're putting in a much higher low on NASDAQ. Okay, second attempt to leave VWAP. We'll see if it builds any value up here. It's not that they always get tested, it's just a very high strike rate. This is the longest single print zone we've had in a while that hasn't been like instantly filled in. A very strong trend on the 1 minute at least. Delta is incredibly strong here. Look at these block trades that keep coming in on NASDAQ. Somebody is trading NASDAQ very aggressively today. Another 400 contracts at 946. There are a lot of block trades today. Possibly preparing for the FOMC minutes. I don't really see why they would. The minutes normally don't really have an impact. Coming up on that overnight high around 904. It's a very aggressive move here. A lot of bullish block trades on NASDAQ. You've got some bullish blocks on ES. They're kind of, they're smaller size, only 100 contracts here and there. Here's that overnight high at 904. No, block trades are not icebergs. Icebergs are on the limit side. Block trades are on the market side. Is this being driven by a single name here? Let me see. No, it's across the board. There is a massive amount of buying going on across the board here. Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia, Google. I mean, you name it, they're all doing the same thing. They've turned their buy algos on. Like we were saying, it's the lower the range. They need to protect this. If you don't protect the low of the range here, it gets pretty bad. So far, the last 2 days have been the weakest bounce we have seen. Will today actually close strong? That's the question, because we keep bouncing, has a decent bounce off the low, but it doesn't close on the high, closes weak. So way too early to say, but so far it is a pretty strong bounce. Keep an eye on that 23 level coming up, and then you have the single prints going all the way to 60. So we're starting to fill in the lower portion of single prints here. And they go all the way up to 960. You can see on Friday, we failed like the literal tick before filling in those single prints. You stopped right at the bottom. And then you had a pretty nasty day yesterday. And now we're actually filling them in. Feels like trading Bitcoin. Yeah, when the liquidity is really low, it can move pretty damn fast. Very early for this candle, but watch that 30-minute close. If it does continue to run like this, you will have single prints going back down, which we talk about all the time. It's like their favorite thing to do is putting in new single prints when they fill in old single prints. And it's because it is so easy to move in that old single print area because there's not a lot of value there. So you can move through it very quickly. So when you're moving through something very quickly, what does that do? It creates new single prints. So that's the problem with these singles here. Did we finish that lower zone here? Where's that lower zone? Lower zone goes until 923. So to keep this candle under control, they have to be below 900. Anything above 900 will create single prints. You still have 20 minutes left, so they do have a lot of time. This was kind of a stairs down, elevator up, where you took out all these prior highs. You can see it didn't react to these point of origins. You just blew right through those prior highs. This is one of those days where the block trades are actually in the proper direction. You could see the block trades were red when they were coming down, flipped into green, and then just kept coming in on the buy side. You haven't had a block trade in the last couple of candles. They possibly are turning them off here. We'll see. Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Sergio. Good morning, Trades. Not sure if I saw you earlier. Good morning, Patriot. Good morning, Ram. A bunch of headlines coming out saying there's a fire breaking out in Iran's capital, but they're not saying it's from like a missile strike or anything. Could be partially why this buy pressure is slowing down a little bit. I'm assuming the people pushing the headline think it's missile related. I don't think everybody would push a headline if it was a normal fire. You mean like deliberate? Like they deliberately did it? Building a node at 909. It's probably about 75% of the POC already. Yeah, arson. Arson's another word. Arson is like when you have like pyromaniacs going around burning people's houses down and stuff. Still holding this node here. As long as they hold that 909 node, they're still looking to extend value here. That does create a problem. You do have those single prints down to 900. We have single prints going up to 23 for that first zone. And the second zone you have going up to 960. It's realistically one zone. You just had a candle close right in the middle of it. Yeah, creating single prints to fill in single prints. They do that just about every time. If they are filling in single prints that are like a day or two old, or they're like they're far away, you have to create singles, or you don't have to. They like to create singles while they're pushing to fill in the far away singles. So it's extremely common. So like, for example, if they were filling them in the same day, it wouldn't do that, right? If it was filling in the day after and it was like sitting right on top of that single print zone, you might not do that. But if it's filling it in a couple days later where it's really far away, like you have here, where it was like way down here, and you have to shoot up to fill in those single prints, then it typically does it. It will typically create new ones. Because the momentum to push you back into those single prints is typically pretty high. But if you're a lot closer to the single prints, like say like right here, you don't need that much momentum to just jump up and fill them in. This is mostly being driven by block trades. There's so many block trades coming in here. Mostly on NASDAQ, funny enough. We're normally seeing the block trades aggressively on ES, not on NASDAQ. But look at today. Look at all these bubbles here. Every single one of these bubbles is a block trade. The bigger the bubble, the bigger the trade. We've got a couple of bubbles on ES, but not as many. Now, I will say my filter on ES is a bit higher. So if I lowered my filter, you probably would have a lot more of those block trades. Yeah, trend is very strong. Trend is very good, holding the ADMA, protecting 5-minute lows, protecting the node. It looks good. Just keep an eye on that possible repair, creating single prints down to 900. You need one more push up and it will finish filling in that lower portion back to like 22, 23. No VWAP trades today. You had a trap trade on ES, and that's about it. And that was a very hard one. But it started pushing above VWAP and it had very little delta on the buy side. And then you had a lot of delta on the sell side with a block trade. Kind of the same thing on NASDAQ, but NASDAQ put in a very obvious higher low. So you didn't have the bear flag, you had a trap. Have a good day, Maverick. Morning, Chuck. Yeah, tutoring is still open. Tutoring is open on the website, and it's also open in Discord. Well, Maverick, that's why you got to take the emotions out of it, and you got to build a system that is just completely logical with your holding. When you're holding something, like if you're leaving a runner, it has to be very logical. Like you're running it because of the ADMA, because of the 24, because of the 5-minute lows, the 30-minute lows, whatever, right? You just have to have a mechanical level that you just rely on. And it takes the emotion completely out of it. You're not closing the trade because you want to close the trade because you feel bad about it. You're closing it because it's losing the 24 EMA, right? Good morning, Michael. Do I do credit spreads? I used to do a lot of credit spreads. We did them quite a bit back in around the COVID times, like 2020, 2022. We were doing a lot of options, a lot of credit spreads, selling premium, yada. Not so much right now. Yeah, no problem, Maverick. Keep an eye on the candle close here. You do have 7 minutes left, and you will have new single prints going down to 900. It's not that they're bad or anything. I'm just paying attention to futures. I just don't have like any companies right now that I want to be monitoring and putting in credit spreads all the time. You do have the indicators now? Awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure why I did that. I've never seen that happen. Usually when I give access to the indicators, there's a couple of issues that can happen. If your account's brand new, it takes like a day or two to show up. Sometimes you have to log out and log back in, then it shows up. And worst case, sometimes I have to remove you and then put you back on, then it shows up. If none of that works, I just have no idea. That's on TradingView's end. Yeah, I mainly use Addis for like the order flow stuff, like the more advanced stuff. And then TradingView for like my trade plan and my indicators. So all my indicators are, you guys can't see them. They're typically on my other monitors. But I have all my indicators coded for TradingView, so I use TradingView for that. And then every morning we do our trade plan on TradingView as well. But other than that, we use Addis for everything else. So this is that candle repair. They've already repaired about half of it. It goes back to 900. Man, my throat is just shot this week. POC shifting to this upper node here. You're about to have that 30-minute close. You will have single prints going down to 900. You did not quite finish that first zone. I think it's missing like one single print. Another thing they love to do. leaving open like 1 or 2 single prints. So now you have single prints going down to 900 as well. Oh, sorry, I was muted. I was saying that yes, you could argue that it's a rollover top, but the sweep is not very obvious. It's not very strong. So it has that movement of a rollover top, but you don't really have anybody being trapped up here. You don't really have that like buy pressure being trapped. You don't have a lot of obvious sell pressure. There's not like a node being stuck. So it's like in the most basic form of a rollover, but you don't have any of that extra stuff that makes it better, I guess you would say. I guess the one thing that is extra that's helping are the single prints below. So you have like an obvious target. But then that's kind of countered by the fact that the POC is right here, so it's kind of fighting it. So it's like a very normal rollover top. It's not anything special. Yep, so a rollover is basically you want a high to be established. You then want an attempt to break that high that turns into a sweep. So when you try to break that first high, you either trap a bunch of buyers or you have like a very obvious delta flip or you have like a very strong sweep. Like you want that sweep to just have like something to it. Something extra, not just like a very standard price action sweep. And then when you have that sweep back down, you then try to go back up and you put in a lower high. So like right here, it tried to go back up, push back down, tried to go up, push back down. So like you have that rollover, but you don't really have like that trap or that node getting stuck or there's nothing special about that sweep, really. And you're kind of seeing the problem with that rollover top not being special, not being very strong. You have that POC node just kind of propping you up and pushing you back into that high. If you have a rollover top that has like a very obvious absorption and you're trapping a ton of buyers and then sweeping back down, you can squeeze out those buyers. So that push back down is a lot stronger. I'll type in all caps, man. You look like a bot. Whenever I see all caps, I want to just instantly just ban the person because I think it's a bot. That's what bots do. Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm just letting you know. Just my first reaction is to like whip my mouse over and just instantly ban that person. I don't want to ban real people. But to answer your question, what are you talking about? Are you talking about like on a daily sense, like we're stuck on a level, or you mean like on like a smaller sense we're stuck on a level? My last recap video has bot comments going on. Does it? I'll take a look. I usually see those when they pop up. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Let me just ban all these people. All right, I banned them all. Yep, being a finance channel is it's something. There's a lot of bots, a lot of weirdos. Lower time frame, yeah, it's just stuck on the POC. You're building up value on the POC. You kind of have a capital B structure, so as long as they protect that 905, 906, It wants to go higher. Yeah, I'm not sure, Chris. I've never had something like that. Does it mean that this is no longer bearish? This has not been bearish since we broke that daily trade plan level around like 86. Our trade plan level was 86 because it was the POC node, which is basically acting as the range high. So once we started just pumping above it, you're no longer bearish. So here's that first target on the trade plan at 23, finishing the lower single print zone. And then the upper target is around 48 to 60. 60 fills in the rest of the single prints. It just always depends on what time frame you're talking about. Like if you're still talking about the daily time frame, you could be bearish as long as we keep putting in like the lower highs. But yeah, on like the middle time frames, not really. Oh, the single print fill in? You mean the local one? Yeah, so we're trying to fill in those single prints, but like I was saying earlier about the POC node, as long as you hold the low of that POC node, which is around 905, 907, you're still trying to extend this upper tail. So it doesn't care about those single prints so much because of that POC node. And this is what I said earlier about the rollover top. The rollover top, it's weaker because you have that POC node right below you. And you don't have those bonuses. You don't have like the trapped buyers or anything like that. You're kind of seeing the problem when you have magnets on both sides, right? We have the magnets above us with the single prints wanting to be filled in. We have the magnets below us with like the weekly open from the FOMC. We have the single prints below as well. And it creates this vertical distribution style where you're just chopping higher, right? Where it's going up, but does it really want to go up? It's hard to say. You keep pulling back to the 24 EMA. The breakout buyers just keep failing over and over and over. Definitely a vertical distribution for now, where it is going higher, but it's kind of showing the uh, the aggressive side is just very weak. The aggressive buyers, the breakout buyers, they're just being pushed right back down. Yeah, for today, I wouldn't say there was like any super high strike rate patterns. You just had a lot of momentum coming in, which turned out to be well, it started as a rotation. You were just rotating into that high of the range. So the big point of today was the break right here. This is more of a momentum kind of play. You also had the rotation, but it was very, very fast. So you bounced off the value low of today, finishing the rotation, bounced off the value high of yesterday, so retested that value. This is the momentum where it was just a rotation. It was just rotating up, right? So it should have started rotating back down around that 86 to like 90 area. But it didn't. So when it broke that balance, that's the big move. So you had a break of balance play or you had a rotation play. That's about it. And if you were really quick, you had that VWAP trap. The VWAP trap was not terrible. It was much worse on NASDAQ. It wasn't that bad on ES. Yeah, it was right around here when you broke that high. You should have had sell pressure here. If it was rotating back down, you should have sold right here and then rotated back down. It obviously didn't do that. So that was the break of balance, anywhere in this general area right here. And ever since then, we've just been breaking balance and filling in single prints. Frequently, this pattern sells off in the afternoon. It can. It definitely can. That is what we all hope the vertical distribution does. We hope the vertical distribution kind of comes to an end, pulls back to VWAP, whatever. But some days it can just do that all day, and it's just a really brutal, just slow grind up. Which is okay if you're still leaving a runner, right? Like if you're in a trade early, let's say you took the trade around the break of balance, and you're just trailing for any kind of major sell pressure that's coming in, vertical distribution is pretty good. It's one of the best trailing patterns because it just keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. But if you're not already in a trade, it's like the most painful pattern because it's not giving you great trades on the buy side. The buyers are getting taken out if they try to buy the breakouts. It's not giving you trades on the sell side. If you try to sell the 24, it just bounces right back. The FOMC is in 3 hours, 2 p.m. But it's a minutes, which is basically just a report. They put out a report. And most of the time, I'd say like recently, like 90% of the time, it does nothing. It has a little bit of volatility spike for maybe 15, 30 minutes and then goes back to normal. There are rare minutes where the report comes out and it says something that the market didn't really expect. And then it has a bit of impact. But most of the time, nothing happens. I used to stream them because they used to be impactful. But I stopped streaming them because literally nothing happens. There's not a ton of great examples of absorption right now. You would have to watch my shorts on it. If you just type in absorption on my channel, there should be a couple of shorts, I think. Or just watch my order flow series. I talk about a lot of examples in the order flow series. Not a lot of absorption right now. You had a little bit of sellers being absorbed on the low there. And that's pretty much it. You see absorption a lot more when you have better liquidity because it sticks to the levels a lot longer. When you have bad liquidity, you don't see it as much. Speaking of liquidity, it's actually really good right now. Compared to what we were seeing this morning, compared to what we were seeing the rest of the week, it's actually really good. Look at this. There's a 300 contract order there. Hopefully this is the new norm and it's just going back to the higher liquidity. It kind of happened out of nowhere though. It just started looking good like right the last like 15, 30 minutes. Yeah, very high liquidity. Almost every tick seeing like 50, 70 contracts. There was a report this morning from JP Morgan that said like the tech disruption and the tech selling is coming to an end. And it seems that people are taking that very seriously. A lot of block trades coming in, liquidity coming back. Google adding their music generation AI, Lyria 3, to their Gemini app. Available in the US now, rolling out to YouTube creators in other countries as well. Trying to extend that upper tail. Here is that lower single print zone now being finished. So now we have the upper single print zone going to 960. And you can see we're moving like across the board here. Everything's going up for the most part. We looked earlier and it was pretty mixed. It's still decently mixed, but the green is definitely a lot larger than it was earlier. Yeah, I don't use any music besides like the intro one, and that's already built into YouTube. So I use like a license that YouTube provides. I just listen to my own music on the background that you guys can't hear. I personally don't like watching streams that have music because everybody has their own music taste. If you guys want to listen to something, you just listen to it on your own. I don't like watching a live stream that kind of forces you to listen to whatever they're listening to. Still in that vertical distribution here. Keep an eye on that 24 EMA. If you start putting in lower highs below the 24, that's when it starts to come to an end. Possibly back to VWAP. But yeah, music's always annoying on stream. Like it will say no copyright, then you play it on stream, then you get copyright striked. And it's just really annoying dealing with all that stuff on YouTube. So I just get around it by not playing any. still have that vertical distribution as long as you protect that 24. Just a really sloppy uptrend. Yeah, we've been a capital B profile for most of the day. If it stays up here like the entire afternoon, it's going to be more of a P shape. Starting to lose that 24. We'll see if it puts in a lower high below it. Yeah, the action today is definitely a little bit of the big players kind of pushing us around a bit. Definitely seeing some more block trades. A lot of big orders. You have a good rest of your day. Hey, have a good night, Angelo. We'll see you tomorrow. Still rotating around the POC here. Hey, Tarnation, that's awesome, man. Glad to hear. Yeah, no worries, man. I know a lot of people don't have the time to like watch every day or type in chat. I appreciate any support you guys give just by hanging out. I appreciate it. I was talking to my editor about some things, and it brought up a good point about how like the animating and like the art and even the music. We were just talking about the music industry. All these industries that are being massively impacted by AI. If you're looking for someone to like make music for you or make artwork for you or make a animation for you, most of the time nowadays you're just going to find people that are using AI, whether they say they are or not. So if you find somebody who's like actually doing the work, is actually like hand making it as a human, they can probably charge like a human premium if they can like prove to you that they are actually making it and they're not using AI software to just mass generate. You're just slowly going to get into this idea of like a human premium. Like, oh, actually, a human made this. So in a lot of ways, it is destroying a lot of those people's careers, like the people who are doing that kind of art or that kind of music or whatever. But in some ways, the ones that are very good at it, it's probably helping their career because they can charge even more money. It's like when you buy things that say they're like handmade, you know what I mean? It's the handmade premium. The machines put a lot of those people out of business, but then you have like those woodworkers or whatever that are making these really cool things. Takes them hours to make. You're paying them a premium for their time because it takes them all that time to make it. And that's kind of where we're getting into with this AI space. That was off topic, but we were just me and my friend were talking about that, so I brought it up. Still protecting that POC node here, so as long as you protect that 907, 905, this is going to continue to chop higher. Yeah, exactly. Like humans, if you don't have the time, if you don't have the skills to do that certain thing, like make that picture or make that video or whatever, you can use an AI that basically does it for you in a matter of minutes instead of a matter of many hours. I'm not arguing for or against it. I'm just saying what's happening in the industry. I think you are, as time goes on, you're going to see that human premium. It's going to be the exact same thing that we see with handmade objects. It's going to have like a human-made tag or something. But all right, we are coming to that time. Let me check the likes here. Are we doing a giveaway today? Yeah, we're already at 97. If you guys want to just hit that like button if you haven't already, we'll go ahead and do a giveaway. Okay, same as always, pick a number between 1 and 50. Only pick one number. I will double check. If you have the same number as somebody else, don't worry about it. We will do a tiebreaker. If you guys are heading out before the giveaway, I appreciate you being here. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you guys tomorrow. If you're in Discord, I will see you guys there as well. While you guys are picking your numbers, just a quick reminder about the raffle. I do these every single month. If you guys have, if you have used the code BREW, don't send your receipts just yet. I'm going to get those from you at the end of the month. What we do is you get one raffle ticket per 50K account size. So if it's 100K, you get 2 tickets, so on and so forth. That's per account. So if you have multiple accounts, if you use the code like 5 times in the month, it's per account, right? It's per time you use the code. So you will get more tickets. Prizes are Discord access. I do 1 month, 3 month, and I do cash prizes as well. The cash prizes are through PayPal, so make sure you have a PayPal account if you do win the cash prize. But yeah, don't send them just yet. This is the email I will have you guys send it to at the end of the month. So just keep those on your end. Try to put them all in one email or one file, whatever it is. And then on the last week of the month, which I believe, is it next week? I think we have 2 weeks left. Let me see. No, it is next week because February is a short week, or short month, I mean. So starting next Monday, I'll start having you guys send those over. So hold on to those for a few more days. Yeah, that goes for anybody that uses the brew code for Apex, which, by the way, they're 90% off right now. They have cheaper resets, etc., etc. By the way, hit that live button. Make sure you guys do not have a delay for when I pull the winner. You guys need to know that you won, right? So press that live button. Make sure there's no delay. I say no delay. You're going to have like 5 or 6 seconds. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure you're not behind by like a minute. Yeah, Ranger, they typically do a 90% off like every month or two. Sometimes they have large gaps where they don't do a 90% off. They'll wait a couple months sometimes. But yeah, when they have the 90% off, that's usually when you want to start getting some accounts 80, 90% off are typically their higher discounts. Their more common discounts are around 70% off. Like you said, it'll be hard to prove what is made by human versus AI. That's exactly what I was just telling my friend. Is he was saying that he wanted to have some animations done. He doesn't want to have it all just be AI. And I was saying that good luck finding someone who's actually doing that stuff nowadays, because even if they say they're doing it by hand, it's probably going to be AI. Or massively AI assisted. Any artwork or like music stuff or animation stuff, if you find anybody online on like Fiverr or any of those other websites, they're going to be using AI. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, like if you don't care and you're paying for someone to use AI, then who cares? But if they're lying about it and saying they're doing it by hand, that's a problem. You should get what you pay for. If you're paying for someone to make it with AI, then who gives a shit? The genie is not going back in the bottle. People just need to adapt to this new world that we are living in. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds or so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull. The last name that I see is Sam Polaris. Number is 29. I swear we've pulled 29 multiple times. Did I not just pull 29? Was it yesterday? I know we've pulled 29 recently. Was it literally yesterday? Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, did you pick 29? Let me know. I see you, Mark. 44, I see you. Is that it? Are you the only person? No, I see Willie as well. I think that is it. I think it's you and Willie. Yeah, now that I said that, the whole stream's gonna pick 29 tomorrow. Okay, I see you both. I think it's just you two. If anybody else picked 29, let me know. I'll double check. Let me just make sure you guys only picked one number. Yeah, you're good. Let me double check Willie. And Willie, you are good as well. Okay, so we'll do a tiebreaker with you guys. Pick a number between 1 and 10. And then I'll just keep rolling until one of you guys wins. I could make it easier and just say pick 1 or 2 and then I just pick a number, but it's not fun that way. So you both picked 6, but in my chat, Mark is first. So Willie, can you pick another number? 4. Okay, so 6 and 4. Good luck. It is 4. All right, so let's see here. Let me give you my giveaway email. There you go. Send me an email with your YouTube username. Missed it by 1. So the best, I always see that comment in chat. The best way to think about it is you're not missing it by 1. When you do random number generators like that, missing it by 1 doesn't mean anything. Think about a bag of marbles with like every marble is white and then 1 marble is black. The numbers don't actually mean the numbers. Everybody in here has a white marble and the person who won has a black marble, right? That's the best way to look at the random number generator. All right, guys, if you are heading out, I appreciate you being here. I will be streaming tomorrow, same time as always. Keep an eye on the single prints below and, funny enough, the single prints above as well. So if we do start losing the POC node, watch those single prints going down to 900. If it stays above the POC node, we are looking for the single prints back to 960. Willie, let me know when you send the email and I'll take a look. Now you can sleep better at night. Yeah, that's just the better way to look at it. Because being off by 1 number when I pull numbers, it just doesn't. It's not like you were actually close. It's just misleading to think about it like that. All right, Willie, I sent you a random number. Just type that number in chat. And once again, just saying thank you to Apex for giving me all these accounts to give away to you guys. They do support the stream a lot. So I appreciate the guys over at Apex. I got you, Willie. So the next thing you'll see, Willie, is the promo code. So I'm going to give you a promo code. Go sign up for an Apex account, any size you want. Put in that promo code. It will make it free for the first month, and then it will start charging you. So if you don't pass it in the first month, go back to the brew code and get that 90% off. But all right, guys, I'll see you in Discord if you guys are there. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace, everybody.